Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Friday here at Quad Radio, and glad you guys tuned in here today. Our guest coming from the Coastal Racing, William Yoakley Racing, Bauer Cycle back to ATV in the GNCC. The number 7, the guy that I like to call the sleeper kind of sorta, and that is Jarrod McClure, as we say. Good afternoon, and welcome, Jarrod. How's things going, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks for having me, Rodney. It's great to get on here and talk. Just back here in Pennsylvania, I was down in Florida with the crew there for a few weeks, actually, doing some training, and had to come back home, rebuild some stuff, and bank up some money, head back down. Florida, it's rough on everything down there, from the bikes to the equipment, your wallet, pretty much everything gets beat up in Florida.
Yeah, no doubt. But I know that talking to you the other day, it's not really been a bad move for you because you've been able to make a little bit of money. And not only that, Jarrod, you have actually been able to ride because the weather's not really been a typical Pennsylvania winter yet.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Rodney, up here at this time, it's usually freezing, the ground's froze, but the past week here, the sun's been out, the ground, it's actually thawed in most spots, and got some good riding in this week. Jeff Pickens came down, he's staying up with Tracy, so we hooked up a little and did some riding this week, and over the weekend here, I plan on going up his way. Tracy has a track up there. I'm pretty sure Mark Notman's coming out, and Blake Kramer might go up. We might have a pretty good crew up there ripping around, so looking forward to that.
Wow, it sounds like some of the northern guys that don't get the opportunity to train like the guys that get to go south in the winter might have a pretty decent advantage heading into the start of the season this year, especially once we get into the meat of things there at Georgia. Everybody's down there training in the sand right now. You're up north training in basically what you're going to be racing in all year.
Yeah, this is, Pennsylvania, Ohio, it's very similar to most of our tracks, and, in my opinion, I think it's a great place to train, Florida's kind of its own deal, it'll beat you up and get you in shape pretty much for anything, but it's nice sticking to what we're mainly riding in and, getting your setup dialed.
I can imagine, and it's obviously I think this is going to be an interesting season just because from a weather aspect, and not only that, the talent field is deepening quite a bit. I've mentioned that in several interviews with the different GNCC guys that I've been talking about. Not only that, but even ATV motocross. It just seems like there's a burst of talent as of the last few years in ATV racing in general, and you're a part of that, man. It seems like you guys there in the late teens, early 20s to mid-20s really seem to have something going on there.
Yeah, like you were saying, a lot of riders are stepping up, and I feel as I stepped up a little over the past year here, getting back on the Honda, sticking with the same sponsors, really getting used to what I'm running and keeping a similar setup, it's definitely helping. But like you said, you got a lot of them young guys that, Walker's moving up this year and Hoyland. I think them guys will be right there, and put a good effort in for their first year in pro, and, be some guys we got to watch out for being up front for sure.
Yeah, an interesting thing. It's been kind of neat to watch your career as of lately. I can remember whenever you first started racing, Jarrod, you were one of the top guys in the morning production class, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah, I actually started in the stock class. It just seemed like the easiest move to get involved, stock bike, it could come out with fairly cheap budget and run the whole series. And, Honda had good contingency. I made some cash that year, got some podiums, got my name out there. Hooked up with Carlin, actually helped me a lot from ATV Riders. He got me some connections right off the bat, got me some tires, and he just helped me get rolling. And from there, every year's gotten better,
Yeah, and then you hooked up with William Yoakley. I remember one year you were running top 10 in GNCC points as well. You were top 10 in WORCS racing. You were a busy boy there for a while, it seemed like. You even do desert racing in Baja, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I'd never actually done a Baja, but that's in the works for this year. But yeah, I've done the WORCS series for 2 years. This past year I actually ran it. I finished 7th out there as well, so I'm 7 on both coasts. But yeah, it's definitely nice going out there. Get more of a well-rounded rider and just see what everybody else has to offer. So.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. See, I didn't even realize you were still racing the West Coast stuff still at this point. So, is that something you're planning on doing this year as well?
Last year was really made possible with Scott Tiger Coastal Racing. He took his truck out to all of them, and it was basically a ride for me out there, and he supported me a lot out there and helped out with the program in that sense. He made that whole series kind of happen for me, him and William. So my hats off to them guys. It was a great year. We had a lot of fun. I met a lot of guys out there, and I'd love to do it again, Ronnie, but it's just too much, trying to do both series. There was weekends like where I'd be out there, I'd come back for Florida, go back for Arizona, come back. It's just you're bouncing around too much. And I told everybody I had two great setups or two good bikes, but you need a great bike, to run with these top guys. And I just didn't have the time to get it where I wanted it, So
you're going to focus back here at home on the East Coast. Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's pretty respectable to be able to run both coasts like that because, I'm not real familiar with WORCS racing, but to me it seems like it's probably a little different than what we have here on the East Coast as far as off-road is concerned.
Yeah, it's definitely a different bike setup. The tracks are a lot faster. It's more open. You run a wider bike, little bit more suspension travel. It's mainly the speed, though. I know Chris and Johnny and them guys came out and ran some of the ones they had in Washington, which is them tracks there are very similar to the GNCC. So, a typical wood setup would work good there, but the other tracks, you definitely want to change some stuff up for sure.
Well, interesting for sure. Now, let's continue talking and back up, I guess, a little bit with what we were talking there a few moments ago, talking about your start in GNCC. You started out in that production class or I guess stock class, and then you got the help. And let's talk a little bit about your progression, man, because you did a little differently than what some of the guys do. We've seen you in the amateur ranks, so to speak. You stepped up to the pro-ams, and, you get on the podium a few times, and then bam, 1 year there, and you go straight to pro. Kind of fill us in on exactly how that all happened.
Well, actually, like we said, the production years, and then that following year, they moved the stock class to the afternoon, and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm riding a stock bike in that afternoon just because of how rough the track gets. So I looked at the results from Pro-Am, and I seen some guys I was running stock with were in there, and they were doing decent, so I figured I'd move up right into there and just see how I did. And I think my first race in Florida, I ended up 5th, so I figured I was a contender, for sure. And that year I actually had a few good runs, a lot of top 5s, and I ended up winning the Ironman that year in Pro-Am. So I finished number 20 that year, thought, man, I might as well jump up in the pro and run with these guys. That was we had a good Pro-Am class that year. It just seemed like everybody wanted to get to pro. Nobody really wanted to hang out there. They just were eager to get on that front line. And, a bunch of us moved up. And that was my first year. A little shaky, getting in with them guys. Bike setup was still off. Everybody starts out and they get all this stuff coming in from sponsors, and you think it's good to go right out of the box, and sometimes it isn't, and sometimes you got to learn the hard way. And that was kind of my case. So it took me a few years to get up and running there because I moved up so fast, But now I got a lot of solid sponsors I've stuck with, and I got my bike working really well, and I'm just looking forward to this year.
Kind of just appeared in there under the radar. You've always been a blip on the radar, so to speak. But when it's funny, man, because when people start talking, every guy that I've talked to, Jarrod, when they start talking the top 5, 6, they keep saying 7 guys, those top 7 guys, and you're always one of the 7 guys. Obviously, you're the number 7 guy, but they're saying, any one of these guys can take a win at any time. And what's it feel like to you to have that kind of, I guess, respect from the competition, especially guys like Borch? He's mentioned you. He knows you're back there on the radar. We're talking Kaiser. We're talking McGill. We're talking, everybody, man. The whole entire pro row knows all about you and who you are. How does that make you feel?
It's an awesome feeling, Rod. I'm coming up through the ranks. So even when I ran some locals, Chris was pretty much dominating our local series, and I always looked up to him. He's still in it. He's still doing it. He's one of the few guys. Back a couple of years, Smiley was in it, William, a bunch of guys, and now a lot of them guys are kind of doing their own deal, own team. But it's to be able to ride with Chris, and he takes me in down in Florida, and he trains with me. It's just an awesome feeling, being with them top guys. Even Gallagher, he's probably one of the oldest guys up there, and he's seen the good times, the bad times, still doing it, and you got to respect that for sure, just being able to run with them top guys. I respect all of them, and I really love that I could be there.
Yeah, and they respect you too. That's what's really good, man. Hey, also, you mentioned there training with Chris Borich and Johnny Gallagher. What is life? I mean, come on, man. We're around there. What is life really like at the Borich compound, especially when Johnny G's around?
Oh, it's a blast. I got to tell you, people came and they said it's like we're living in a frat. It's we just have a good time. I mean, it's business though. I mean, Chris is an animal. He puts the hammer down. He's always wanting to ride. We all push each other. It's a good time, but we have a lot of fun too. My buddy Miles, he's a dirt bike guy. He went down with me, and he's been going down a couple of years with us. And he's like, he can never wait to go down. It's like he's actually down there right now. He went without me, and we just go down there for. I go for a couple weeks at a time. It just seems like I can't swing the whole off season, but it's definitely a blast. We put some good training in, but like I said, towards the end of those weeks, my stuff's in tatters, and I gotta come home and rebuild.
What? I mean, give me something. Give me some dirt on Johnny G, man. I mean, I know there's got to be something good there that you can tell us that happens down there.
He's a good dude. He helps me out a lot. Johnny,
you're not going to throw him under the bus, are you?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You're not going to throw him under the bus, are you?
I don't really want to. He's a good dude.
He is.
He sometimes he'll come home from riding and he don't want to get a shower or go to bed all stinky, so we bust on him a little bit about that. But
is he a clean freak?
But no, I can't really say nothing bad about the whole crew down there. It's just everybody helps everybody out. If your bike's down, anybody will pick up a wrench, help you out, give you some parts, whatever you need. So it's definitely a good time, and that everybody looks out for each other.
That's good. Hey, have you heard about this past weekend's race? Have you talked to anybody from down there yet?
Just a little bit. I talked to Johnny. He said Chris had he actually ran out of the last lap. He opted not to pit or something, and I guess Kaiser got him. I really didn't get to talk much. It was just a quick phone call, see how everybody did.
Yeah, it sounds like I beeped you out there just a second ago because I was getting another phone call. Now, say that one more time. What did he run out of so people don't think that I'm trying to edit things here?
I'm pretty sure he ran out of fuel on the last lap.
Okay.
He opted not to stop, and, I guess Kaiser ended up actually getting him for the win.
Yeah,
so.
I just want to make sure that people didn't think that I had bleeped something out there that you said something bad, but that's pretty good stuff. But hey, man, goals for the season. What are you looking at here this year?
I just want to be right up there with them guys. Doing my best, and I'd like to keep it in the top 5. I mean, last year I wasn't on the podium. Really, I won a race there, and that was kind of because Kaiser cut the track a little, and I got bumped up, but. I actually would just like to be right there, top guys, be able to run with all of them, be there in the mix, because it seems like the top 5, 6 guys, they're always just pulling away from the start. And if you could stay with that group, you'll be there at the end. But if you get a bad start, it's really hard to catch up and keep running. So if I can get in that top group and, end the year better than my number now, I'll be super, super pumped.
Sweet. Now, what about Facebook, Twitter, web pages? You got anything like that?
Yeah, I got a Facebook. You can check me out on there. Or, we usually have updates on yokelyracing.com. He has his website, so I do a lot of my stuff through there, and we do our race reports on there. So any followers could definitely check on there, or my Facebook. Sometimes I'll post stuff on there when I'm down in Florida, usually race results and stuff like that.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate your time today.
Hey, thank you, Rodney. It's great you're doing this, and I really, really appreciate you having me.
Hey, man, I'm glad. I appreciate you being on here today, and that's for sure. Hey, don't forget, coming up this weekend, Sunday on NBC Sports also is Racer TV, and we've got 2 of the UTV races. So some of those races that you guys get to watch out in the morning while you're looking at the track, you're going to get to watch on TV this weekend, man. It's an hour long. You're going to be sure and check that out, all right? All righty, sounds good. That is Jarrod McClure. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.